Alright, good morning everyone. Proficiency exam, problem number 13. The problem is asking you to use the graph of the absolute value function below. And looking at this graph, you have to determine what is the domain of this function. Okay? What is the domain? That's what we're looking for. And then you have the four options, A, B, C, and D. And in order for you to be able to answer this question, you need to know what is the domain and what is the range of a given function, right? And if you remember, and if you can imagine, your function f of x as being nothing else like a box, a magic box, in which you're placing certain things, right? You're putting in numbers or whatever you want to put in, and something else comes outside, because inside that magic box your function will do the transformation. So you have something that you put inside, which is called the input, and you will have outcomes, output. Okay, but mostly in our algebra classes we learn that the input is given by the x's, right? So input is what's on the x-axis. So for all your function, for every point on your function graph, for this given example here, whatever goes inside is placed on the x-axis, and the output will be given by your y's, right? We also remember that the input will be nothing else but your domain. So every x that goes inside here will be part of your domain set, right? And the output, what you have outside from this, from this box that comes outside after f of x transformation, would be your range, which set will be formed, or will have as elements all the y's, right? So for the purpose of this problem, we're looking for the domain. And when you say domain, you're looking at all the x's, all the x values for every point that you have on this graph, right? If that's a point, that point will have an x and y coordinates, and x will be there, y will be there. But for your domain, you have to look for all the x's that are placed on this interval here. Okay, and because you have a closed dot, it means you're going to include that x and you're going to include this x. Basically you have, you can write this interval using brackets, or as you will see here on the possibilities of an answer for you, on the four choices, you can also use inequalities to describe all the x's that are placed on this interval, where every point on your graph will give you a certain x, right? So it seems to me that my domain, like I've said, will be between this point and that point. And if you're looking at your options, I see it here on C that says y greater than or equal to -2. Well, y refers to the range. I need to talk about x. A says all real numbers. Well, if that will be the case, for your x being all real numbers, your graph should be, moving on in both directions forever, right? And then I will have all the x's on, left and right, all the x's on my x-axis, which will give me all real numbers. But this is not the case, because it looks like my x's are between that number and between this number here, right? Between this one and that one. So what is the value here? This is -5 and that's -4, right? And here this value on the right side of my x values for the given graph will be 3. So it looks like my x is between -4 and 3, but includes -4 and includes 3, like I said, because I have a full dot, right? And that's why the answer here will be B, because that's the interval that describes all the possible values of your x for the given graph. And you can also see this answer written this way. X is part of this interval -4 to 3 with brackets here, right? And those two expressions are actually equivalent, they mean the same. And this is how you solve a problem like this. Domain, you're looking for the values of your x for the given graph. That's your input, that's what you put inside. Make sure you're not missing anything, and you will be fine. That's it.